The health concerns of 2020 have prompted the use of advanced meeting technologies like Zoom. Programs like that have become indispensable for many businesses and churches. At the height of the concern over COVID-19, most congregations of the church complied with the government's recommendation that in-person gatherings should be suspended. Now, presently, in-person gatherings are permissible as long as specific safety protocols are maintained. So, since Christian gatherings were suspended temporarily, some might wonder whether Christians really need to be together at all. Do we really need to resume gathering in person and put ourselves at even a slightly greater risk of infection by being together with people in person? Do online gatherings effectively serve the needs of the church? These questions are rolling around in people's minds, and they're wondering, how can I maintain my health and continue pleasing God at the same time? When the intent of Christian gatherings is understood, the answer becomes clear. If our gatherings were for the sole purpose of worshiping God, then Christians would not need to be together to accomplish that. Anyone can worship God in any place at any time. Jesus made that point clear in John chapter 4, verses 20 through 24. He was having a conversation with a Samaritan woman, and she asked him about the appropriate location to worship God from. And Jesus responded, "Woman, believe me, an hour is coming when neither in this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father." And he later continued by saying, "But an hour is coming, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. For such people the Father seeks to be his worshipers." Through those statements, Jesus announces and makes clear that there are no restrictions on the location where worship is to be offered to God under the new covenant. If worshiping God was the sole purpose of Christian gatherings, being together in person would not be necessary to accomplish it. But offering worship is not the only purpose for Christian gatherings. When Christians are together, yes, we do worship God. We study his word, we pray, and on the first day of the week, we eat the Lord's Supper to remember the death of Christ on the cross. We remember that on the first day. But there's an overarching purpose in doing all those things together. And that overarching purpose is identified by Paul in 1 Corinthians 14, verse 26, where he wrote, "When you assemble, let all things be done for edification." That is, for the strengthening of those who are present. And the writer of Hebrews put it this way in Hebrews 10, verse 24 and 25. He said, "Let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembling together, but encouraging one another." And so whenever we're thinking about how to stimulate one another to love and to good deeds, staying away from each other is not a good idea. It's not going to help accomplish that in the slightest. Christians need to be together because that is the most effective way to strengthen each other. Nothing will ever be a better option for edification than meeting together in person. A Christian can do many godly things alone, but there is no better way to edify a fellow Christian than to be together in person with them. So follow whatever safety protocols are suggested for the physical health of your brethren. Wear a mask, sit 6 feet apart, whatever you need to do in order to make sure you're not a danger to them physically, go ahead and do that. But do not neglect the instruction of God for the spiritual health of your brethren. Meet together so that all may be edified.